What's up, War Room? Welcome back, Joe and Connor, fresh off a nice 32-minute vent on the main pod. We're going Dr. Melfi mailbag here. We got a lot of questions. They're mostly not positive. Understandably, most were sent watching the Jets drop to 0-4 to the Miami Dolphins on national television. Connor, how you doing? It's been a tough few days. I don't want to put salt. I don't want to put the salt in the wound with the Mets and the Jets in back-to-back days, but I know it's been a tough stretch.
It has been down horrendous. It's hard to
hockey starts soon.
Yeah, hockey starts soon. I'll put all my hopes into the Rangers. What can go wrong? With the Mets, it's weird. They were just bad for 3.5 months. Trust me, it was a horrible end of the season. But that's a long time to play poorly. Where you kind of sit there and you're like, yeah, unfortunately, I did in a way see this coming. With the Jets, it's just. We said it so many times. It just felt like you were facing a team that didn't really have much left in them, and it's just, in my opinion, when you just give it away, it's just so aggravating. It's like you said, as soon as Braylon Allen fumbled, you're like, oh boy, this just turns all the tides right away because everything went exactly how you would expect and hope it would go, and then you find a way to get back in the game, and you have a chance to go on a possession to tie it, and you fumble a kick return again. It's just.
I can't believe Nick Folk made that 58-yard field goal, by the way, with room to spare. Guy could barely walk at this point. His head doesn't fit in the helmet. He's stumbling out there.
I didn't know he had that much leg left. But you know what's crazy I was thinking about, because there's so much bad with the Jets right now. It's remarkable that things are this bad. And their rookie right tackle looks awesome. Like the real deal.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
And Mason Taylor, good last night. That was exciting.
Mason Taylor was really good last night. He was natural catching the ball. He falls forward.
Yeah.
He's got size. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that both those picks look fine and things are still this rough.
Well. These questions should help unveil
I'm
why.
To see. I don't look at these. I do not look at these in advance. I'm fascinated to see what we got here.
All right, from Steve Wilkes. Steve Wilkes is looking every bit as horrible as a defensive coordinator hire as Hackett was as an OC. Dan Campbell quickly remedied a mistake when he took over offensive play calling in his first season, then fired Anthony Lynn. Why is Aaron Glenn so willing to accept this level of coaching from Wilkes or play from Clemens, Stevens, Cisco, Adams, etc.? Accountability seems to be a buzzword than him. 4 games in, what are the parallels you see between Glenn and Gerard Mayo's coaching situations, and could we be headed to a similar situation? Look, I think Wilkes is going to be the sacrificial lamb, right? We're headed towards a spot where at the bye week, Glenn takes over the defense. That's a public thing. And he's the coordinator who gets fired after year 1. That's where we're headed, because I do think Glenn and Muji and most of the rest of the staff will be back in year 2, regardless of what happens this year. And I think that's an important step for Aaron Glenn to make. I think he's giving himself a kiss of death in year 2 if the Jets are going to have the 32nd best defense in the NFL. And they're going to bring Wilkes back. It's as embarrassing as it was when the Jets brought Hackett back. It let you know they weren't that serious about fixing the problem. And they could leak, we were talking to other people, no one wanted to come here. End of the day, you brought Hackett back. And that's kind of what bringing Wilkes back would be on the current trajectory that we're on. Now, we get this question a lot and this framing a lot, because we both think Glenn's going to get at least 2 years. I think we both generally agree that that's fair. And hopefully it ends up being longer than that. But there's always certain situations in the NFL that turn into sour milk situations. Gerard Mayo, Jim Tomsula. There's other recent examples, Vance Joseph, where it's that's it. And it's 1 year and you're done. I don't think this is a Gerard Mayo situation. Also, why that situation ended as quickly as it did, there was a unique situation with Vrabel where they
would have kept Mayo. I
they would have kept
Mayo,
fact
if Vrabel wasn't waiting for the job.
Yeah. So if Harbaugh gets fired from the Ravens and he wants to come to the Jets, fire Aaron Glenn and hire Harbaugh.
Which, by the way,
there's
non-zero chance.
Yeah. So if that opportunity presents itself and the Jets continue on the trajectory that there are go get Harbaugh. Putting that aside, I'm not ready to go there yet or say there is a world where they're like, all right, you know what? It's just one and done. You're 2-15 and it's over. Now, look, if maybe they go 2-15 and they're like, look, you got to make some coordinator changes. And Glenn's like, no, I'm not making any. That's maybe how you get into that situation. I don't think he's that guy. I could be proven wrong, but I don't think that's going to happen. What do you think?
Is the question specifically on if Glenn could be a one and done?
I think it's like a hybrid of how would you handle Wilkes, and how he handles that, could that lead to him being a one and done type guy?
It's a weird one, right? So, one, as we sit here today, we both don't think Glenn's going to be one and done. I think that would make this podcast, I think, has a reputation of being as level headed as we could be. Now, if what we saw the last couple of weeks is just the exact same script for the next 2 months, then it has to be a conversation, because that just means you're an inept organization at that point, and you start to get embarrassed. And like I said on the flagship show, that you're going to probably be picking one or two where you have to mold a quarterback of the future. It's once again, like the CEO of the organization is not going to put their most important asset in the hands of people that he doesn't trust. So that's how you get there. But let's stay with the now. I think it's a tough one, right? I think we've all probably, any of us that have worked in a corporate structure, have probably been in an environment when the leader of the company puts someone in charge of your branch or whatever you want to call it, and within a month if the person is clueless. I've not recently, but quite some time ago, I've been in that situation where I sat down, and after 2 meetings with the person, I walked out of the office and I was like, doesn't get it, like doesn't have a chance. I'll give him a chance because I have no choice. And I'm sure everybody listening to this that's been in that situation, the leader rides it out, because the quicker they pull the hook on that person, the quicker the hook comes for them.
Yep.
And I think Aaron Glenn is no dummy. I think Aaron Glenn knows, if I fire Steve Wilkes after 6 games, then if the defense is not improved when I'm taking it over, it's the old, you point around the room so much until the finger comes back to you. So you need to be a little careful with that. It also makes you look reactionary.
Yep.
I sit here today, and I think Steve Wilkes was the wrong hire. And honestly, like a little bit of going back to that moment, that's a little bit on me. He wasn't really good his last couple stops, and I think my reaction was, well, you do need a veteran on this staff if you're going with Engstrand at OC, so I get it. And I really underestimated just how poorly it's gone for him in this era of football the last couple of jobs he's had. And that's on me, because now we're kind of seeing it carry over. I think it was the wrong hire. The thing is, the flip side of it, like the ceiling of it, because that's the floor, which is pretty scary. The ceiling of it is, you go, he doesn't have it anymore. And I hate that I have to do this, but I have to move him off play calling. I won't embarrass him and fire him, and we won't move on until the end of the season. I don't want to embarrass the guy. But there's so many things we're doing wrong right now that if I have the comms, they'll fix it. And say the Jets do remove Wilkes from running the defense, and the last 6 games or whatever it is, the defense looks different and is a little innovative and shows some life. Well, then you go, okay, like that was a big problem. So it's a really, really tricky one, man, where you do need to be careful of how quickly you react. But I think we're all sitting here and we're all watching the same thing, and we're not going off 4 games, man. We're going off this last half decade of what's gone on for Wilkes. And it feels like the odds will be heavily tilted that he is not the defensive coordinator next year. I think the real question is, how reactionary does Glenn get when he watches this tape and sees the countless mistakes they keep making?
Show me that clip of them defending the boot where Tyler Barron moves 7 yards in the wrong direction along with the rest of the defense. I still haven't seen anything like it.
You could do, I remember like Dable was accused of, accused of like surrendering play calling, but then not surrendering it. You could do the quiet takeover where you don't say anything, but behind the scenes, Glenn is really allocating 90% of his time to the defense. Because once again, these are men that respect each other, and you don't want to embarrass people, because then when Glenn is looking to make veteran hires in the future, there's people that respect Steve Wilkes that'll be like, I can't go there after what happened to him. And so, you know what I mean? So it's
a delicate dance.
It's a really delicate situation right now. And that's why I don't think you'll see action right away, even though I will fully admit on this podcast, action would be warranted. That's how poor things have been.
It's been that bad. This tape is something.
Look at this, Joe, right? It's, as we sit here today, if you and I just did this podcast and we had the Jets game going on, there'd be moments when we're watching the game where we'd sit there and go, You know what? That's something with the offense this year that is better than last year. I don't think you'd have one moment like that with the defense. Maybe the run defense in the middle, but it's not like that's really personnel. It's not anything innovative.
All right, another defensive question from Lost in the Sauce. Where did the pass rush go? I get that Barron, McGregor, and Clemens suck. They do. But both WND and Quinnen were basically zeros tonight as well. I think a good time to, this is a question we get a lot, right? Because we're very bullish on Quinnen. And I think every metric and every shred of tape shows that Quinnen's playing really good football. And I think McDonald, we stand up for a lot because he's a very specific kind of player who's not always being used in a very specific way, especially when the script's not friendly. I mean, what have you seen? What did you see last night from them? And what have you seen holistically from them through 4 games?
Well, I think the Jets are never in a script for a guy like Will to thrive. As I said on the main show, he did have 3 pressures on just 14 pass rush opportunities, and he drew a hold. He got tackled on another one. That was so he
gets one of those a week. It feels like
he does because he wins so fast that the tackles they're gonna tackle the guy so the quarterback doesn't die. So you have to take that into account with Will. That based on opportunity, Will's been fine. I think the issue at hand with Quinnen, I think could be better as a pass rusher. I think that, but Quinnen's been so good against the run, and he's not a zero as a pass rusher. I just think that the problem is without Jermaine, they get no pass rush from anyone else. They're not pass rushers. Like, they're not guys built to win off the rush. And 2, with the Dolphins specifically, they're going to get the ball out so fast that those opportunities, if you don't put the Dolphins in 3rd and longs, they're going to go quick game on you so much, or just roll 2 out and have so many. So the secondary is not giving them a chance to get home. So I think it's a combination that the pass rush is very shallow or thin, and the little pass rush they have has so few opportunities. The Jets are not playing in a script ever where they can pin their ears back. And the last time they were is when they were beating the Steelers, and Will McDonald had 2 sacks. Yeah. So pass rush is so script dependent.
Yeah, I think they had 4 sacks week 1, and since then it's been quiet, and they just still no turnovers. I don't know what the NFL record is for games to start a season without a turnover, but we're nearing history at the current rate that we're going. Someone fall on a fumble. Someone. I think Sherwood almost at the interception, he just wasn't even looking for the ball, just right off the face mask. Like, they don't even comprehend that they could turn the football over.
The fumble bounces are wild, man.
That's just pure bad luck. Like, to be fair to the Jets, because I never like to talk about this too much, they got completely screwed by the refs last night. It did not swing the game.
The refs were.
I mean, there was a couple calls last night that, again, to have even the broadcast team on ESPN be that aggressive, to be like, what is going on? Like, it was horrific last night. And the Jets need to be a pain in the ass to the league about it, because it's a recurring thing. And yes, it's until you win, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. But Jesus Christ, last night was bad. From Shogun, of the following players, do you think there's a chance the Jets sign any of the following? AVT, Simpson, Quincy, Myers. I don't think with Quincy. I think he's a guy that they could consider maybe shopping at the deadline. Unfortunately, they picked a linebacker they're going to pay. Yeah. They're not going to pay 2 linebackers. Quincy's also going to be on the wrong side of 30 soon. AVT, we got a couple questions, including from our buddy Dave, about, do you pay him now and pay low and buy low instead of, taking advantage of his injury history to get him at a better price? I'm open-minded to it. I think it's more likely they're probably going to pay Simpson. I'm not saying that's the right or the wrong choice. Myers, I think they have a 1-year deal. He's been good. Yeah, I could see him if he continues at the current trajectory. Can you get him on another cheap 2-year deal and keep him around, because he can play and he's playing well in the system? The AVT and Simpson decisions is a really interesting one, because can you get AVT at really advantageous money where, you know what, it's let's roll the dice and hope this one breaks our way, which feels crazy to say as a Jet fan, but you're not going to get someone as talented as him at likely a heavily discounted price. So how would you handle that on the interior offensive line?
It's a really good question, because the conundrum for AVT is it feels like Tippmann has played well at right guard.
Yeah.
Where they might look at Tippmann now and really like him there. So then your pathway is did this just become clear where we're going to bring Simpson back because we want the stability at left guard, And then our line that has been fine and has a higher ceiling because their young players growing can be the same. That's the tricky part. You almost wonder I think if they were signing both Simpson and AVT, they'd have to be comfortable with Tippmann at center. And it feels like they like Tippmann at guard. So the idea in theory makes a ton of sense without being able to nail an exact value because there's a limit. You're not going to pay AVT this crazy deal just because you want to keep him there and you don't really have a plan. But AVT also might want to just do his rehab with the Jets and be comfortable with his life with the Jets and rather go that route. So I'd say it's on the side where I think there's a higher chance that, unless, you know what's foolish in me while I'm saying this though, AVT played on the left side in college. So if they just like AVT better and they think Simpson is going to get a bag, there's a world where they do pick AVT and just play him at left guard again. And that's not the same as the old, like moving him around a million positions. He's a guard. So now he's a guard. So yeah, there's definitely a chance. It's just going to come down to how the smarter decision of how they financially allocate their money. I don't think it would be a bad move if Simpson like looks around and he's like, man, I'm going to go get 18 mil a year on the market. Like, good for you, man. Go get that. Then you maybe save a little money on AVT and you take a guard in the third round where you have a little insurance in case something happened to AVT again. That could be an option. But if they just love Simpson as a player, then you just pay Simpson and go with what gives you the higher floor.
All right. From Switzer 015, a lot of negative right now, so going to try to be positive. I thought last night was a good Angstrom game. How many times have we seen coordinators abandon a game plan? Yes, I guess he could have gotten the ball to Garrett earlier, but they were running the ball so well. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's promise with him and with this offense if we could clean up some of the small problems. I don't disagree. I still think Angstrom, on the whole, through 4 games, has been more positive than negative.
I agree.
For a first-time play caller with some of the limitations the Jets have with having no receivers except for Garrett Wilson, I think you're going to see the rest of the year a lot of Mason Taylor. I think you're going to start seeing him catch 5-6 passes every week as the clear number 2 to Garrett Wilson. They need to come up with a solve at wide receiver too. You know, Josh Reynolds could line up, he could block, but he's just not a threat as a pass catcher, which is a problem if you're a wide receiver. Al Lazard, I'm not going to talk about him anymore. Arian Smith, I'd like to see them try some kind of role for him that just get him a couple deep targets where it's not so obvious. It's going to require some creative thinking in how you do it. And I do wonder with I don't know how many weeks he's going to miss with an MCL, maybe 2, 3, 4. How does that change how they use Breece and Isaiah Davis? And do we get some more pony looks? Do we see more Davis mixed in, not just on third down? I mean, they're playing a couple defenses that are going to be ripe for the picking with Dallas and Carolina and even Cincy. Like, these are 3 pretty damn bad defenses of their next 4 games. Like, they should be able to move the ball. What I would ask of Angstrom is what we talked about last night and talked about earlier. Like, just let Fields throw. Let him play quarterback. And he makes mistakes. He makes mistakes. You just can't just keep defaulting to the 3rd and 6 handoffs. You just got to play normal football sometimes. And I would still, not that I think this is going to change everything, try some of your other big tight ends in the pass game. Try Smart. Try Jelani Woods. Don't make Jelani Woods be the next Rodgers.
That's what surprises me.
Like, try him. It's better, like, if you're going to throw passes to someone besides Garrett and Mason Taylor, it's better than Reynolds and Lazard targets. Like, try a couple vertical shots with size. Go 4 verts with Smart and Woods going down the seam and Taylor and Garrett on the outside. I don't know. Try something like that down the field.
And they've ended the Tyler Johnson experiment.
It's a really roller coaster. He didn't make the team. He's on the team. He's got a 30-yard catch. Then he got the drop, and that's it.